Alright everybody, I want to show you where we are now and then show you how we're accomplishing all this. So as we get close here to a chest, I can hit the space bar to open it. We cut to another scene where we equip the weapon. We come back. Now if I hit the F key, we'll swing the weapon. It doesn't do any attack stuff now, there's no enemies to attack either, but as I'm running around, if I hit F, I can't rotate until it is done. As we get closer to the lever over here on the ground, I can switch that and the door will open over there. And we got one other lever at the other end of this hallway. It's a wall lever, same deal, door opens, and I can walk through. Alright, so there's a few things that we did here. First thing is we got these reflection probes, and they are set to baked, and to make sure that works, all of these walls and the floors, I set them all as static. So that's something I could have done earlier, but I didn't do until I absolutely needed it for the reflection probes. Next, I've got this camera right in front of the player. It just stays with the player, and it's this up close camera. You can see it right there. It follows the player around, and that way, when we open the chest here, one of the scripts here is turn object on and turn object off. So I've got 4 of them set here, 4 individual scripts. Each one can take one object, decide whether it should turn on or off, and delay. So basically I turn the main camera off with 0 delay and turn it back on with 2.5 delay, and then the close-up camera the opposite, where it turns on right away and turns off in 2.5 seconds. Now the player script also has a new part of the player movement that has a special camera. That's close-up camera is attached there. So as long as the special camera is not active, we can do our movement. Otherwise, we can't. We'll just update speed to 0, and that makes it so that the player can't move while that special camera is active. So we also have our player weapon here. All it is at this point is just the weapon object, which is the sword. Our animator, at the start we get the component. Our grab weapon sets the trigger grab weapon on the animation. That's where he reaches back and grabs the weapon. At the end of that animation, there's an event called turn on weapon at the apex, where it's his hands behind his back. Sets the weapon to true and sets the trigger for the right hand grip. Now, the human set up so that the hand can be either gripped or open in any of the animations. If you look at the human animator now, you've got a second layer for the right hand. This only affects the right hand of the player, and it's defaulted to hand open, but we can go to hand grip when we equip the weapon. So that has a parameter for right hand grip and right hand open for each of those. One of the other on open scripts that I've created here is a on open call function, and this takes a target object and the function name, and it's pretty simple. Again, on the open, it will broadcast the message of the function name to that object. In this case, it's calling grab weapon on the human player, and that's how we actually start the transition for the animation grab weapon. The last thing I added on the levers, lever 1 right here on the floor and lever 2 as well. Similar to the chest, we have an animator with a new animation controller and animations that go with it. And same as the others, we have, if we look at the animator, we have open and close, lever open and lever close. We're not going to use lever close, however. And we have the same trigger open, so that open at the end of it has an event that calls trigger open, and that then triggers this. Oh, we got 2 of them right here. So it does 2 things. One, we set the tag to untagged. That means the player can no longer interact with the object. The lid does the same thing. And second, on open do animation. So this takes a target, in this case the door, and trigger name is open and delay at 0. So Pretty much when this is called, when the open is called, which is at the end of this, this gets called, the door opens. Pretty straightforward. It's just a chain reaction thing, and the other lever has the exact same thing. So now this package is going to be posted with the video, so if you want to download it and check out the scripts with your own characters, if you have our characters, great, you can just replicate what we're doing. If you have all of these packages, then this should just work for the most part if you bring it in. Otherwise, create your own scene with your own characters that you already have, and use our scripts and see what works. Obviously, there's always, I should always say this, but there's many ways to do the exact same thing. This is just one of them. It may not be the best. It's relatively efficient, but it's also relatively simplistic. It probably wouldn't be the most efficient for a much larger game with a lot more options. But for this small scene, this is quite easy to set up and straightforward.